At first, I just want to mention that everything can be an objective, even a minion wave, but let's not complicate things too much and only talk about the most important ones today. Baron Nashor. Baron Nashor is the big objective in League. Taking it gives your team a massive advantage. It is a huge purple monster living on Baron Pit on the top of the map. It spawns at 25th minute and respawns every 6 minutes after being killed. Baron gives 300 gold to every teammate, even if they're dead, so literally as much gold as you would get from a pentakill. Nearby players also get a big chunk of XP, but the main prize is the Baron buff. It increases your AD and AP and massively buffs nearby minions. They become super tanky, super quick and deal a lot of damage. Baron is OP, period. Remember this one. Pros are almost always playing around it, and so should you. I've seen way too many players completely ignore it, while they're busy chasing kills in the enemy jungle like it's an ARAM. In most games, securing Baron after winning a teamfight is the safest and the strongest play. After all, the first team to kill a Baron has over 82% chance to win the game. Sometimes, especially on high DPS junglers like Mastery or Warwick, you can do a sneaky Baron, meaning to kill it quickly before the enemy team realizes what's going on. But that usually only works in lower elo, where people are too busy arguing on the chat to place a ward. After taking a Baron, you don't have to always group. Split pushing multiple lanes is insanely strong with the Baron buff. Baron empowered cannon minions get huge attack range, letting you siege without entering the turret range. The buff increases your minions' movement speed, so walking up to them is often a good idea. Their speed buff scales with your movement speed, so don't hesitate to use your movement speed abilities near them. Baron Nashor used to spawn at 20th minute. Dota 2's Russian name backward spells Nashor. Elemental Dragon. Dragons are large monsters spawning in the Dragon Pit on the bottom side of the map. The first one spawns at 5 minutes and each respawns 5 minutes after being killed. The first 2 dragons are random. After the second is slain, the Elemental Rift takes over the map, and from that point on, only one element spawns for the rest of the game. Killing an Elemental Dragon gives your team a permanent buff based on its element. Chemtech gives you tenacity and health and shield power. Cloud gives you slow resist and out of combat movement speed. Hextech gives ability haste and attack speed. Infernal gives AD and AP. Mountain gives armor and magic resist. And Ocean restores HP every 5 seconds. But the real prize is the Dragon Soul, a massive permanent upgrade you get after securing 4 dragons. Increased damage and damage reduction when below 50% HP for the Chemtech Soul. Movement speed even further increased after ulting for the Cloud Soul. Static like lightning effect for the Hextech Soul. Periodic explosions on attack and abilities for the Infernal Soul. Shield for the Mountain Soul. And HP and mana regen for the Ocean Soul. You can usually give up the first dragon or 2 if you can trade it for something better on the map. But the more dragons already taken, the more important they become because you get closer to a soul point. If you're hard winning, it can actually be correct not to take your 4th dragon. Taking that last Drake spawns the Elder later, and the Elder can flip a losing game harder than Yasuo one trick can a winning one. Dragons used to just give gold and XP without any permanent buffs. Mordekaiser used to be able to control dragons after killing them. You can only imagine how OP it was. Currently, there are 3 playable dragons in League of Legends: Shyvana, Smolder and Aurelion Sol. One of them, Shyvana, gets bonus stats after killing Elemental Drakes. Seems like friendly fire to me. If you're still watching at this point, you can help the algorithm find you again and help me growing this channel by leaving a sub, like or a comment. Appreciate it. Elder Dragon. Elder Dragon spawns on the Dragon Pit 6 minutes after a team secures a soul. It's the final boss of objectives. Shiny, angry and extremely illegal in teamfights. Elder doesn't give a permanent buff. Instead, it gives your team the Elder buff. Your damage applies a huge true damage of time, and enemies below a threshold get executed. Once you take Elder, force fights immediately. The buff doesn't last long, and waiting usually benefits the enemy team. Which buff do you think is stronger, Baron or Elder? Let me know in the comments. Turrets. Turrets are defensive structures that shoot nearby enemies and provide vision. Some of them protect key structures like inhibitors and the Nexus. They are divided into outer, inner, inhibitor and Nexus turrets. Each outer turret has 5 plates that give gold when destroyed and fall off after 14 minutes. Destroying a turret gives gold to your team and, more importantly, opens up the map, especially if it's the mid turret, which is basically the gateway to the entire rift. Taking down turrets gives map control, vision pressure and more angles to invade or collapse. Sometimes it's not worth destroying the top lane turret early because it exposes your top laner to constant ganks and emotional damage. High elo players usually say the mid game starts once bot tower falls, and that's when bot lane typically rotates mid. Turrets take drastically reduced damage if you try hitting them without minions nearby. This is why split pushing without a wave feels like hitting a brick wall with your head. By timing correctly, you can attack the enemy under their turret without getting hit by it. Scuttle Crab. The Scuttle Crab is a peaceful river creature that wanders back and forth, minding its own business until 5 players suddenly beat it up together. Killing Scuttle gives gold, XP, and, most importantly, vision around the dragon or baron pit. Its speed shrine is incredibly valuable for contesting objectives. You should contest Scuttle if you have lane priority, but don't die for it, it's not a boss in an MMO. Sometimes giving it up is better than flipping a 1v2 at level 3. His abilities are eating your healing plants for fun and dodging your abilities like he learned it from Faker himself. Inhibitor. Inhibitors are structures inside each base. They are 3 of them, top, mid and bot. Destroying an inhibitor makes super minions spawn in the lane for 5 minutes, so until the inhibitor respawns. Destroying multiple inhibitors increases the number of super minions per wave, eventually turning your minions into pink terminators. Taking an inhibitor usually lets you set up for a baron or even end the game, but it's not always worth it to destroy an inhibitor. If you know you can't end the game before it respawns, you'll just give the enemies bonus gold and XP. A timer appears at the edge of the destroyed inhibitor, showing when it respawns. Super minions actually scale with time, meaning that in the late game they hit harder than your average fed AD carry. Nexus. The Nexus is the final objective of the game. Destroy it and you win. Let it die and you lose. Pretty straightforward. You also get 50 gold for dealing the final blow to it, which is of course more important than the victory screen, right? You cannot damage the Nexus until you've destroyed all structures on at least one lane. And it also counts for randomly respawning inhibitors. If Herald helps you destroying the Nexus, he will dance happy that he contributed to the victory. Void Grubs. Void Grubs are 3 small purple monsters that spawn early on the Baron side of the map. Each grab gives your team extra tower damage. If you take all 3 of them, your team gets periodic voidlings to help push turrets. Void Grubs are a huge early game objective. Securing them gives you stronger lane pressure and opens up early plates. They spawn a bunch of small voidlings every few seconds, but the rescue is not the strongest. Group the grabs together so you can hit all of them with your AoE abilities. Efficiency is key. Old Mountain Drake used to give bonus turret damage too. Void Grubs basically stole its job. Rift Herald. Rift Herald is a big beetle monster that spawns in the Baron pit. You can kill it to summon the Shelly, your friendly neighborhood tower demolishing friend. Killing Herald gives a lot of gold and XP. The killer also drops the Eye of Herald. Don't forget to pick it up, or your team will, rightfully so, flame you. Using the eye summons Herald, who helps you destroying the nearest turret. The best lane to drop Herald is usually mid lane, since it opens the map. You can also ride it, making you untargetable. This is what lets the enemy jungler do a clutch escape after engaging, and what lets your jungler hit a wall to get spam pinged. You can deal huge true damage by hitting the glowing eye on his back. Herald periodically charges at you. It hurts, so dodge it. Dropping Herald before a fight can help someone escape using the charge.